and welcome to ADHD Friendly. I'm Patty. I am the creator and host of this podcast. I'm an ADHD coach, and my focus is on creating ADHD-friendly ways to have more time to thrive and less time struggling. That's my new little thing. More time thriving, less time struggling.
Love it.
That's kind of like right at the heart of what we do. This is episode 152, and we're going to start as we always do with a celebration that is related to my reading habit.
Ooh.
I know. And then I'll share what I purchased this week, always updating, keeping that accountability.
Yes.
And then the tip for this week is something I'm calling See a Need, Fill a Need.
Ooh.
It was inspired by the movie Robots, so I'll go into that.
I love that movie.
Right? Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I'm quoting Big Well. If you're a Robots fan,
classic.
See a Need, Fill a Need.
Classic movie.
That was my mantra when my kids were little.
Oh, love it.
And then the main topic for this week is simplify your schedule. And I'm going to talk about how to approach simplifying your schedule in an ADHD friendly way so that it's creating more ease and more energy and less drain, less toleration. And then as always, I will wrap up with the book for this week and I'll share a quote. All right, so let's get into our celebration. And as we always do, we start by celebrating our new subscribers. Becca, you know, I say this, and I don't know if it resonates as being true as people like listen to me update this every week, but I always want to acknowledge the appreciation that I have that you take time to like even like if I were right now to go and follow another YouTube channel, I'd have to remember how to subscribe because I've only subscribed to a handful.
Just a few.
Because I always forget how. So I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much. And if you've subscribed on another channel, really do appreciate it. I just don't follow them. So because everything I do is really geared towards the visual. And so I share auditory on, like Apple and Spotify podcasts, so you can listen to it if that works for you. But if you also want to check out the video so you can see, the YouTube channel is ADHD Friendly. And Becca, we are up to 990.
Wow.
And what I was getting to, this is what I'm really proud of. My brain's coming back to connect what I was saying before. I didn't lose the thread. Is I am gonna put it out there. If you're listening to this and you have not subscribed, I would love nothing more than to get to the green next episode when we record. We've got a week, just 10 subscribers. It's a lot.
Yeah.
For me, that's a lot. And it would just be so sparkly to go over. It'd be really hard if somebody unsubscribed and I was just at that cusp and I had to go back and forth for a while, but I'm okay. Whatever it is, it is. Whatever it is, it is. But 990, literally. And I have a little, I'm not diagnosed with dyslexia. I don't actually have dyslexia, but sometimes I do reverse numbers pretty frequently when I write down phone numbers or addresses. I'm or do math. Don't make me math, as you say. I will get numbers wrong. And I'm like, even like, there's something about these numbers. I keep flipping the 9. So now I'm kind of excited that the numbers are the same, 99.
Yes.
Because it wouldn't matter, even if I reversed it, same impact. But if it flips back to like 940, I would be like 490, like
right.
490 to me is the same as 940. Like it really doesn't make sense to my brain.
Yeah.
It's more just honoring, that people have taken the time to subscribe, and hopefully we'll get something. My hope and intention is always for each episode to have something helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to my celebration for the week. Becca, I know this is like another one of those crazy like trends.
Yes.
I don't do a lot of things well. I feel like when I share this, it's like, oh my gosh, Patty. I shared recently I did 150 weeks in a row of my yoga routine, which is still crazy because now I'm at tomorrow 151. Ooh, crazy. Right now I'm at one of my 24 in 2024 goals was to read 52 books in the year. So pretty much my goal, and this was my goal in 2023 as well, to pretty much average a book a week. Not that I have to finish a book a week, but I wanted to finish 52 books over the course of the year. So I kept that same intention for 2024. I hit it.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
I know. So I'm like, okay, I will obviously go over that number.
Yeah, you will.
But I remember literally 3 years ago listening to, and I haven't listened to this podcast in a while. I've just been so busy with other things, and I've gotten, and it's why I so appreciate anybody that listens, because I know how much our brains can go on to other things. And I try really hard to keep these topics relevant, to keep hopefully you coming back to get something useful. But I was listening to the Happier podcast, which I'm sure is still fabulous. I just haven't listened to it recently, where every week, Gretchen Rubin, who is one of the hosts, and her sister share what they're reading. And I remember I used to listen to it going, what are you reading a book every week? Because every week they would share a different book that they were reading. And I was like, oh, that's possible. And now I realize like I don't finish a book every single week, but there's some weeks I'll finish more than one.
Right, you have been
Just
a little bookworm.
So I'm super excited about that, because when I hit it, I was like, I knew I was getting there, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's still like the summer.
Yeah, you literally.
And I'm at 52 already. So it's very sparkly to me. I'm very excited, and I'm feeling really excited about the habit that's formed around reading. My coffee and reading in the morning, it's still very sparkly. All right. So on to what I purchased this week. Here's my accountability, guys.
What?
I know. Okay,
Hey.
so here's the thing, and this is what I'm just gonna share out loud. And I invite comments. Again, this is episode 152. If there's anything that you're noticing that I'm not aware of as I'm saying this, because a lot of times I'm verbally processing what I'm noticing in the moment. This is not a scripted podcast. I put lots of things in carts this week.
Okay, but they're still in the cart.
They're still in the cart.
Yeah.
And I'm really doing the just pay attention. And one was really hard. I got a 10% off coupon from LL Bean, and LL Bean is very stingy with their coupons. You don't get a coupon, but maybe I think twice, maybe 3 times a year, I'll get a 10, and it's always no more than 10% off. That's like the max. And it expired like 3 days later. So I had like 3 days to use it. So I immediately went and I found a very sparkly dog bowl.
Cute.
But I need a new dog bowl. So it's not the dog bowl I have, it's just like a thin metal one. And this one's like a domed one. So it's not made, my German Shepherd will pick it up and carry it around with her. Water goes everywhere, and it just makes a mess. And so I also wanted their little, their dog mat that is waterproof to go underneath of it, because she just sloshes. She's not she's not a big drooling dog, but she has a decent sized muzzle. And so when she gets her mouth in there, it just gets water everywhere. And so I was like, oh, 10% off, because of course it's not an inexpensive dog bowl because it's LL Bean.
Yeah.
But it was exactly what I need to be able to keep the water on the floor from becoming this mess.
Huge puddle.
But I didn't use it. It's still in the cart.
Okay.
And now I know, because I don't have the 10% off, I will not get that until I get another 10% off.
Right.
So it's feeling a little easier to remember when something is a want versus a need. I'm also realizing like it's fall, and I want to go and like walk around Hobby Lobby and I love to get something new for like fall decor.
Cute. I love that.
It's very sparkly to me, but I realized what I think I need is a plan.
Yeah.
So I don't just want to walk around. I could walk around with 20 bucks and like, you can get anything for 20 bucks.
Yeah.
Or I can go in with an intention of, I need a fall wreath.
Yeah, a game plan. Right.
Yes. I'm going to go look and see anything I find, because then I end up everything just, I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll just put it in the cart and I'll walk around with it. And then it's a lot of decisions. And if it's later in the day, I may be like, you know what, I'll buy it and I don't.
You're not returning.
I'm bad at returning. So I'm just noticing that if I don't have a plan, I will be more likely to add more things either to my online cart or my in-person cart. So I'm just not going into stores as much.
Yeah.
Because I know myself.
Smart.
Yes, but at the same time, yes, and I have to find a way, because I'm also noticing it means I stay home more, and I'm not. So I'm like, okay, I need to not deny myself enjoying window shopping from time to time, but I need to have more structure so that when I go in, I'm enjoying it, and I don't get into that. I'm beating myself up now because I bought these things that were very sparkly. They were on clearance or whatever. Then in the moment, it just feels like, well, it won't be here if I wait.
You need to have this now.
Yeah, especially at Costco and that kind of thing, where it literally is like, it will be gone.
You never know.
And it will be gone. But then it's like, okay, but did I need it even if it no longer exists? So it's
maybe
for, those of us with ADHD, these are real difficulties dealing with how our brain works. So I'm acknowledging that. I'm learning from it. I appreciate your partnership in the accountability. I invite you to if making a list, showing up for the podcast each week. I'm playing around with the idea in the membership of having some kind of accountability around checking in on money in an accountability partners session.
I like that.
So I'm going to talk about more the membership a little bit more. If you haven't heard of it, ADHD-Friendly.com, if you want to check out and see if that would be additional structure that could support you to do more thriving and less struggling. Okay, that's my celebration. I didn't buy anything. It's not sustainable, but I want to acknowledge the week went by and I did, and especially, you know, with the coupon and everything, I still didn't buy anything. All right, so on for my tip this week.
Okay.
My tip is to minimize your steps.
Minimize
your steps. I know. So we're all about, like, you know, clocking our steps and wanting to get as many steps in. That's great if you are trying to build your steps. When I'm talking about minimizing steps, I mean consolidate what you're doing in terms of chores, household little tasks, because we only have so much energy and we will have resistance to doing things. So this goes back to the see a need, fill a need. So it could be, you know what, I'm going upstairs and there's a laundry basket at the bottom of the stairs that needs to go up. Let me grab the basket while I'm already going upstairs. So I'm just getting that done at the same time. Because what my default is to see the basket and think, I don't feel like carrying that right now. I'll do that later. And I will go upstairs without it.
And then you'll forget.
And then I'll keep tolerating it the rest of the day, walking past it, thinking, yeah, I really need to take that up the next time I go. And so if I move it like literally right in front of the stairs where I can't go up the stairs,
blocking you.
It makes it more likely instead of moving it against the wall at the bottom of the stairs where you can go around it. So I just take it, just going to take it with me. So minimizing steps, meaning, and I learned this when I designed closets at the Container Store, it was all about, that was like one of their mantras was, if you're like having to go to the front of the store to bring an order up and there's a cart that was abandoned in the back of the store, take the cart and bring it to the front. See a need, fill a need. If you're going up anyway, you might as well just go ahead and take care of that. And I also think of it as a way in families, or if you live with other people, see a need, fill a need, meaning you are supporting other people and not expecting somebody else just to do it because you don't want to.
That's amazing. I love that.
It builds that kind of positive collaboration. So I always say, like, if you're putting something in the dishwasher and there's a spoon, a bowl, a cup, things in the sink, go ahead and just throw it in there. It needs to go in.
You're helping whoever put that in there.
I understand that's not yours. You didn't put in there, but if it's left, who in general is going to be the person that ends up putting it in the dishwasher? That wears down. So if there's one person that tends to be the person that you're like, you know what, I'm just going to leave it there, somebody else will. And even if it's not a conscious thought, if that's the pattern, see a need, fill a need. If you see something that needs to be done and you can do it while you're doing something else, like, oh, I'm going out to the garage, let me put that hammer back. Let me drop
take the garbage out.
The garbage is sitting there. Let me go ahead and take that out and drop it in the garbage bin. See a need, fill a need, minimize your steps, do things kind of piggybacking on what you're already doing so that it's supporting you in the moment to feel good about getting it done. So you're not tolerating it. It's also supporting your future self, just like with the basket at the laundry basket at the bottom of the stairs. You're not having to keep going by it going, oh my gosh, I still need to bring that up. It's already done. So your future self isn't being continually drained by it. And if you live with other people, it's supporting that collaboration. So it's hopefully building that, you know what, I saw that, hey, I took it upstairs for you and just put it outside your door, or I put it on your bed or whatever. So that if somebody else sees the dish in the sink, the laundry, like, don't take my laundry out of the dryer and throw it in a basket. So now it's all getting wrinkly because you needed to move. Like, I understand if you need the dryer, but if my stuff's in the dryer, you don't have to match socks.
But like,
I do need you to fold the shirt. Like
hang up what needs to be hung up.
Just you know, take one step. Or come let me know, hey, I need to use the dryer. Can you get your stuff?
More than willing to.
But don't just throw it in a basket where now I have to wait for it to be open again because I'm gonna have to fluff it.
All over again.
Because I'm not ironing.
That's right there.
So that's it. Just, you know, if you see dirty socks on the floor, you're walking past them, don't keep walking past. It feels like, oh my gosh, I have to bend down and pick up. It's so much easier to do that and save that energy from being drained as a toleration every time you keep going past it and keep noticing like it's right there. Even if it's not yours, that's why I go back to the big well from robots. See a need, fill a need. If you see something that needs to be done, that water, like who puts an empty water pitcher in the fridge?
That used to be one of my biggest pet peeves when I lived at home because, like,
literally, there's nothing. Why is it? Even if you just leave it on the counter when it's empty, you put it in the fridge.
empty.
It's like a very triggering thing. Either leave it on the counter.
Yeah, don't put it back in the fridge.
No, don't put anything back in the fridge. Or like, like tuna fish in a container, like, a Tupperware.
Yes.
And you go, and it's like, there's like barely a spoonful. I'm like, what am I doing? Putting this on a cracker?
Needs to be
like, you needed to finish
out.
that and put it on your, whatever you were making, sandwich or whatever.
Be done with it.
And take care of the dish, put it in the dishwasher. Like, come on.
Because tuna smells, because then you're just leaving that stench in there.
See a need, fill a need, minimize your steps, piggyback on what you're doing so that it's working not just for yourself, for your future self, and for others that you share space with. True in offices, true in, and I do it even in stores. I'm like, if like somebody put their cart and like they left it out in the parking lot and it's not in the return, I'm like, okay, if there's space and I'm moving my cart, I'll just piggyback into that cart and push it in. I'm like, okay, let's all like work together. And create that collaborative community, not polarize and have that every man for himself or every person for themselves kind of mentality. All right, that's it. On to a quick word from ADHD Friendly, a little commercial. Skip 30 seconds if you don't want to hear it. I totally get it. So I wanted to give a quick update on what's happening at the ADHD Friendly membership, the All Access membership. We're now in fall. So we did the personal owner's manual live course over the summer. It's a 7-week course. It's being turned into an on-demand course that will be available to purchase. It will also be available included in the membership in the community. But we're also going back to our live body double. I call them power hours, where they are structured to help you move something forward. So in September, we are reconnecting to our routines. It's a great time. School's back. Summer's over, we're transitioning into fall. So we'll be reconnecting to morning routines, evening routines, and meal planning during September. And in October, our first Friday webinar is focused on boredom. And we're going to be talking about how boredom is to an ADHD brain the same as kryptonite is to Superman. So we're going to talk about why that is and strategies to be able to tolerate boredom in a way that will work for us more than it works against us. And then in the live power hour sessions, we're going to be dealing with fall organizations. We're going to organize recipes. We're going to organize our laundry, and we are going to be organizing physical pictures. We're even going to be planning our month. We're going to have a live plan your month session. So if you are interested in having a little bit more time to thrive and a little less time struggling with your ADHD, I invite you to check out more information at ADHDfriendly.com. All right, on to our topic for this week. This is a longer episode. It is. So our topic, simplify your schedule. Becca knows I am all about condensing, simplifying, conserving energy. Anything I can do to minimize what is draining me, I'm all about. So I made it a priority to say yes to more things in 2024, which is kind of the opposite of what I'm talking about here. But hang with me, because I'm going to share how we can get more things on our calendar that energize us and remove things that are draining us. Sometimes I said yes to more things that I was comfortable with, which has happened over the summer, where I had something every weekend. I really love an open weekend with nothing committed on it. It's just my favorite thing in the world. And I do know if I have a cluttered and busy calendar, it can lead to stress. Because I can see it. I can see I'm not going to have that time to really relax and recharge and almost like cocoon at home if I know I'm going to have to go. And I was traveling like every weekend.
We're going everywhere.
Throughout the entire month of August, there was something every single weekend. So keeping in mind, what is that amount that I always call it that Goldilocks amount? What's the right amount for you so that you can use that as a boundary? Creating awareness of, I'm already traveling, I already have 2 commitments, or maybe you need more things. Maybe it's, I don't have enough on my calendar, so it's draining me because I'm seeing I'm going to be bored. I don't have something going on that weekend. Honor what you know about yourself and use that information to inform your decision-making, to make those decisions easier. If we go back to default decisions, which for me is saying yes to something without checking my calendar, and then I'm kind of backpedaling, oh my gosh, can I get out of this? What did I do? Why did I say yes to that? The goal in simplifying your calendar and your schedule is to honor your priorities, protect your time, and make decisions that support yourself today and your future self. Okay. So I've got some 5 quick steps to support you to simplify your schedule. So number one, look at your calendar. Just look at your current calendar and see what's scheduled on it. What you're looking for is recurring events that you are either skipping or attending but not enjoying.
Ooh, all right. I like that.
All right. So you're just going to highlight them. You're just kind of growing your awareness of, oh, yeah, I have noticed that this is like an ongoing event and I'm looking for excuses not to go. I'm going sometimes, but I'm kind of feeling drained when I leave, whatever it is. Notice any that create a sense of dread. So if you are like actively avoiding, what do you avoid about it? Or what is it that's creating stress? Is it a family commitment where there's like a specific family member that will be there that you're just like, oh my gosh, like I don't mind going, but if they're going to be there, it's going to drain me completely. Or maybe it's a specific activity that, or maybe it's like a crowd. For me, it's all about
a lot of people.
A lot of people can be really draining for me. Or a lot of noise can be very draining, which is funny because, and I'm going to talk about this, like I went to a number of concerts, which of course are very crowded and very noisy. Two things I hate. And I found some things I was surprised about. I'll talk about that in a minute. All right. So that's number one. Just look at your current calendar, identify if you're skipping some things or you're going to things that you are just not enjoying.
Yeah, not do it.
Number two, determine what is actually worthy of your time. So you're going to use your future self here to help yourself. So this is a little question you can ask yourself if you're trying to decide what is worthy of having on your calendar. Would I choose to add this to my schedule if I was starting fresh today?
Ooh.
So maybe it was already on your schedule, but you're looking at it going, okay, would I choose to put it on my schedule? If it wasn't, if I had a choice today, would I add it to my schedule? If not, so if your answer is like, yeah, no, I would do anything not to have this on my calendar, consider removing it if you can, or declining future invitations.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, I've already committed, I'm going to go, but I'm not going to commit to another one. Maybe it's even asking yourself, does this align with my values? So is it helping you to connect if that's one of your values, that you're doing this because it helps you connect with other people? Maybe it's a form of self-care. Is it feeling like self-care? Does it literally leave you feeling more cared for because you did it for yourself? Is it tied to a hobby that you want to, something you want to learn, something you want to strengthen or grow or stay connected to? So whatever your values are, that could be a way to explore. If it's an optional calendar event, does it align with your values? I know I had a doctor's appointment on my calendar and when I scheduled it, it was fine. When I got a week out, I spent the like 4 days leading up to that window where I could cancel, trying to convince myself of reasons I could cancel and how I could reschedule. And there was no easy way. I tried to reschedule online. I've shared, I hate phone calls. And it was just draining me so much. That wasn't optional. I had to go to the doctor for a follow-up. It wasn't horrible. I just don't like going. It's just one of those things. That wasn't something I can get off my calendar, but it was something for me to notice what would I need to tolerate it more easily. But there are some things on my calendar I would maybe choose not to continue putting on my calendar. So just noticing those things. And sometimes if you can't take it off your calendar, like my example, a dentist is the same thing. I see it, feel great once I get it scheduled. I'm like, oh, that's my future. Get it, taking care of my future. And then when my future starts arriving closer, then I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the dentist.
I want to go there.
But it does feel good once I'm done. Okay. So that was number two, determine what's worthy of your time. Number three, empower yourself with no. So this is where we're going back to say yes to what is recharging you and what balances your time, but empowering yourself to say no. So saying no can protect your time and energy. It can help to create what I call back pocket sayings. By that, I mean something that you can just think of off the cuff. I am horrible at lying. Horrible. So if I say no to something and somebody says, oh, why can't you go? None of your dang business. It was hard enough for me to say no. Don't stink and ask me why.
Nosy.
I know, right? What? How do you care? But if you have people in your life that will ask those questions, having a back pocket saying that you can pull up in the moment can help you to tolerate that. So here's an option, and play with things, make them yours. It has to be something you're comfortable saying and something you can easily remember in the moment. Remember, if you have weak working memory, this can be a challenge to keep it simple.
You get frazzled.
Yep. So I literally, one of my favorite things is just, oh, sorry, I've got too many things on my calendar. If somebody says, what do you have? I'm like, just too many things to even go into, but my calendar's full. Like, I'm not getting into it. I'm not going into details, because my experience is there's people are trying to convince me of how they can make it still work within.
Yeah.
That's not going to serve me. And my calendar can be full of nothing.
Yeah.
That's full for me in a way I like it. I'm not adding anything else to it. And I don't need you and you judging what I consider to be my perfect calendar. What works for you doesn't necessarily work for me. So another saying might be, I appreciate your invite, but I'm focusing on activities that energize me right now. So it might be, that's something that really is draining for me, and I've just got a lot going on. So I'm focusing on things that energize me, perhaps another time, if it's something that might work another time. So say yes only to activities that leave you feeling energized and recharged. If you want more information on the power of saying no, check out episode 149. We just did a whole podcast on that. Okay. Number 4, reduce your decision fatigue. So I just talked about this a little bit. That fatigue will lead to default mode decisions. It might lead to you saying no very impulsively, even if you might want to say yes, and then maybe you're missing an opportunity that you would have liked to have done. Can also lead to you saying yes to something that you would really not want to do, and your future self is going to pay the price of that. So give yourself 24 hours. So it might be that in the moment somebody's asking you in person, and this is something I've also found is really helpful. If you ask me something in person, I will always give me 24 hours. Let me confirm my calendar. I'll get back to you. And then I'd like to get back to you in a text. I find it easier to say no via text than it is in person. Or definitely not on a phone call. I think better if I have time to write out my answer. And I don't feel like we're going to get into if you text me back and ask me something that's more, well, why can't you attend? What's going on in this weekend that you can't come? I can ignore it. And just be like, yep, sorry, I don't have time to maybe I'll catch you next time. And I just move on. In person, that's really hard for me to do. I don't think really well, so doing that way. So I'm always like, okay, let me get back to you tomorrow. I'm going to check my calendar so I can confirm if I can do that. Or I can say, I don't commit to putting anything on the calendar until I have a chance to go back and really look at it and make sure that I can commit. So that's like one of my blanket things is I am not saying yes to this until I have time to go look at my calendar, and I cannot process my calendar in front of people. If I look at it, I'm staring at like, the calendar's open. I am not taking in information, and I know that about me. So they might be like, well, don't you have it on your phone? I'm like, yeah, but I need to go and look at like my calendar where I can really see it to make sure that if I say yes to this, I have the space of time, I have the energy, and I'm able to commit to it with everything else going on. Because I have a free time doesn't mean it's free. I might have something every other night, and that was the only night that I had to recharge my battery. So I need to really look at what's going on before I can say yes. So give yourself 24 hours. Give yourself a mantra, give yourself some way to build in a buffer so that you can really explore, is this something that I want to add to my calendar, or something I'm going to give myself a gift of saying no to that? And then lastly, celebrate your wins. So if you're protecting time, celebrate that. If you're holding a boundary around it and you're able to hold that, celebrate it. It's a win when we are simplifying our calendar and our schedule in ways that support ourselves. And then if you said yes to things that energize you and no to things that drain you, again, that's a boundary. That's allowing you to work with what works for you. James Clear says, clarity is freedom. Know what is important to you, and it will grant you the freedom to ignore everything else. That came in the newsletter when I was planning this. I was like, James, that's exactly what I needed right then. So I had some events. I did this activity. When I was planning this, I went through all of the steps, and I looked at my calendar from my summer schedule, and I just went back through the summer months, and I noticed the things that were building my energy, kind of surprising. All of the concerts I went to and all of the company that I had were energy builders, which was really interesting because I don't like crowds. I don't like noise, but I really enjoyed the specific concerts we went to. The only one that was kind of was the Doobie Brothers, but that was more because the people around us were kind of negative, and I found that very distracting.
That makes sense.
Where I was like, why is everybody so like they just don't have the best manners and behavior? But it wasn't the music, it was more the people around me that was I already talked about my doctor's appointment being a huge drainer, but I was great afterwards. Like I was really happy that I still went,
Yeah.
that I didn't cancel it.
You're happy that you got it over with.
Yeah, and it actually went really good. I get a lot of anxiety about,
Before, yeah.
so I felt really good that I didn't cancel and I went, and that it was a good thing overall. The interesting thing, the things that I do the most consistently locally for connection have been kind of neutral. And I'm just noticing that when I went back and I looked, I'm like, I skipped knit group a couple of times, mainly because I was traveling.
You've been so busy.
It's hard for me to go back if I'm not consistent. And I know that about myself, but it's also, it's more crowded lately, and that's hard for me. So I'm trying to figure out how to get what I need while staying connected to that. The hobby I'm passionate about, I enjoy the people that I get a chance to connect with, but if it's really crowded, I don't connect because there's too many cross conversations going. I can't focus.
Sensory overload.
It really doesn't work for my brain. So I'm trying to figure that out. So how do I keep that connection, but have it, kind of keep noticing, maybe I'm just looking for a class to take. I'm not quite sure what to do with that, but I am noticing that the number of people is creating some resistance to me going as I'm leading into the fall. So I'm just kind of, that's on my radar. I'm going through this, just helped me to notice a pattern I really wasn't paying attention to. And that's why I thought, oh, this would be a sparkly topic to share, because I'm really noticing for my own calendar how things are or aren't working. And the same thing with my book club. You guys know I love my book club. I'm loving how much it's got me back into the reading habit. I'm so appreciative of it. The book club itself has been getting really crowded.
Interesting.
And it's just a lot of verbal processing. Like it's the book club, every book club we go through, everybody gets a chance to share one book that they're reading. And some people will share more. And I'm a rule follower. So I'm like, if you share more than one, you get 20 people in a room, and that's like a lot of hearing. And so I find it really fatiguing if it's, for me, like 10, 12 is kind of perfect. You get to the 18 or 20 and I'm like,
that's a lot of time.
And it may have just been summer, but that's what it's been the last couple of months. So again, I'm noticing the crowd level and just paying attention to what will I need to change for myself if that's going to be the pattern going forward. Because if I pull back from these things, I'm missing my chances to connect. So I'm just, again, noticing, and I'm just sharing that if it helps you to think about what would you need to help support your calendar to be more simplified, so the things that are on it are pulling you in and not draining your energy because they're there. That's it. All right, on to the book of the week.
Woo!
So my book this week, The Borrowed Life of Frederick Fife. And this is by Anna Johnston. This I learned about in the Big Fall Books session at my library. It's a new book, just came out. It was really fun. It was an interesting take on, just really quick synopsis without giving too much away. Everything happens in the first chapter, so I'm not like spoiling anything too huge. About an old man, I think he's 83, I think, somewhere around there. He's in his 80s, and he is living on his own, getting ready to be evicted from his apartment. He's struggling to pay for things, and he is on a walk, and he comes across a man in a wheelchair who he believed was sleeping, and was trying to like help him sit up, and realized that the man was no longer alive. No. And he, in a series of events, ends up borrowing this man's life. And it's an adventure. It's very well written. I really did enjoy the perspective. I enjoyed the justifications and the different people he encountered in the borrowed part of this. And it was very sweet. It was a very quick read. I enjoyed it. So The Borrowed Life of Frederick Fife by Anna Johnston. Check it out if that sounds like something that would interest you. All right. My quote this week comes from F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is from The Great Gatsby.
That is.
This is tied to fall. The quote is, "Life starts all over again when it gets crisp in the fall."
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does. Love the crisp fall weather. Ready for a little more consistent crisp fall weather.
Same here.
We'll get there, and then we'll be talking about how cold it is. That's not really something I complain about. So bring it on. All right, that's it for this episode. Again, if you are looking for more support, more strategies to support you to do more thriving and less struggling with ADHD, I invite you to check out ADHD-Friendly.com for lots of resources, including information on the membership if you would like to check out that option. Until next time, tally ho.